inauguration and for the inaugural day of the Trailblazers Conclave 4.0, supported by a lot of sponsors, and it promises to be India's biggest sports conclave by an absolute mile, as promised by none other than Boria Majumdar himself. I was actually thinking about what I would say to kickstart this Trailblazers Conclave 4.0, because everything has been said and done and written for the last few years, and it's almost become a part of India's sporting ritual. It's on its way to becoming a legacy. So I thought, why not invoke a bit of fun and try and do it the Ravi Shastri way. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute honor to be here, and welcome to the biggest sports coliseum of the Indian sports conclave, the Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 4.0, a Boria Majumdar initiative. Across 2.5 days, we will have 65 sessions and 34 athletes to go with a lot of sports administrators and to go with the relentless backing of all our sponsors, which promises to be India's biggest sports conclave. So what is this about? How does this make Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 4.0 an extremely special and extremely different sports conclave, like many others happening in the country? So when I was thinking about that, I jotted down a few key words. Number one, empowerment. And I'm not only saying this, you will see this for the next 2.5 days. Almost all the reporters from the ref sports fraternity, from the ref sports community, all the reporters, all the presenters, all the anchors, everybody has a session. So it's not only about Boria Majumdar or Shormishta Guptu or any others. It's about the ref sports team. And we have to repeat it again and again. That's a bit of, I think that's kind of sad in 2026, that it's also about women empowerment. We have designated sessions for women athletes, and we have designated women anchors, female anchors, to host the session. A big round of applause for the empowerment initiative started by Boriada himself. And that has been the legacy of this ref sports conclave, this Trailblazers Conclave 4.0, for quite some years now. Sports personalities, athletes, administrators, sponsors, they gather from all around the world and from India as well to make this a grand success. We debate, we engaged, we agree to disagree, and finally, we arrive at some conclusion. How can we take Indian sports forward? It's not about chest thumping like a lot of other conclaves. It's not about, look how much I got, or look who I got for the Trailblazers Conclave 4.0, or there are so many sponsors. No. There is only one name which Boriada told me on my first day of joining Ref Sports. Ogni, it is all about Indian sports. And Ogni, let me make one thing very clear to you. Indian sports is not all about cricket. Indian sports is about football. It is about hockey. It is about badminton. It is about Olympics. It is about Paralympics. It is about the investors. It is about the administrators. And most importantly, it is of the fans, by the fans, and for the fans. So this is how I think I'll introduce this year's Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 4.0. And I have to thank the sponsors from whom we have received relentless backing over the past few months to pull off India's largest sports conclave by a mile. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you please to applaud all our sponsors as I call out the names one by one. Title sponsor Tata Steel, powered by AGS Federal Life Insurance. Please, let's keep the applause coming. Associate sponsors Coca-Cola, Wow Momo, SN, BSV, Lal Baba Rice, Ola Magri, Fumos, Shapurji Palanji, HSBC, Nestle. Driven by Tata Motors, Athleisure partner 10XU, Feature State Telangana, Print Media partner Shongbat Protidin, Travel partner MAC, other partners Health Tech partner Activo Labs, Wearables partner Titan, Jewelry partner Mia by Tanishq, Boutique Renovation partner Getafix Solutions, Nutrition partner Food and Wellness, Global Education partner GPEC X, Sports Tourism partner Fanatic Sports, Running partner JBG Kolkata Marathon, Private Wealth partner Motilal Oswal, and YIPESU. Now it's my time and it's my turn to please call on stage with a warm round of applause the co-founder of Ref Sports, the one who sets the legacy herself, Shormishta Guptu.
Thank you, Ogni. I start by welcoming each one of you to the Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 4.0. This is the 4th year that we are organizing the Trailblazers Conclave. Each year, it has become bigger and better. And this year, I would first of all like to thank all our sponsors and all our partners who have kept faith in us through this journey. Okay. Now, each year, we have celebrated athletes who have brought glory to the country. But we have also spoken to much larger questions. We have debated, we have created, we have set new discourse, and that's what defines Trailblazers. Now, let me go back to last year's Trailblazers Conclave. The opening session was Manu Bhaker, who had just returned from her Olympic glory. This time we have Gautam Gambhir, the recent World Cup winning coach, and this is probably going to be his first public appearance after the big victory. However, there's something which I want to outline in the brief few minutes that I have here, and something which Ogni also touched upon. That Trailblazers or ref sports and the legacy and the discourse it creates is not only about a Manu Bhaker or a Gautam Gambhir or a Sania Mirza, i.e., it is not only about the stars, but it is about creating a larger discourse. It is about speaking to the ecosystem. It is about speaking to structural issues. So if you see, and let me just elaborate with a few short points. If you see the schedule in front of each of you, today we have sport as inspiration, investing in the sports ecosystem, and a football panel. Now, Gautam Gambhir had this day as an available day, and we all know that it is going to be one of the marquee sessions. However, we chose deliberately to not have him on this day, but to have these panels which speak to structure, which speak to inspiration, which speak to aspiration, because of course, what is sport if not, aspiration and inspiration? If you will turn to the next page, we have a panel on 16th March, which is day 2 of the conclave, 11:30 a.m. to 12:15 p.m., decoding the champion mindset. This is probably, why probably? It is the first panel in the history of Indian sports, discourse where we have world champion Neeraj Chopra with para world champion Sumit Until. Now, I would dare to ask anyone here, do we as a country put Neeraj Chopra and Sumit Until on the same platform? We don't, right? But we should. And that's what Ref Sports had started to do from day one. Ref Sports had a team of 6 people covering the Paris Paralympics, whereas other media houses, they had teams of maybe 2 people or 3 people covering the Olympics. Every company, every media company had a team at the Paris Olympics, and in the Olympics, they all went back. Nobody stayed behind for the Paralympics. So that is the Ref Sports legacy. It is equality, it is all sport, it is every sport, it is able-bodied and para on the same platform, it is men and women on the same platform. So for this conclave, we have Mithali Raj, we have Jhulan Goswami, we have Sneh Rana. In fact, all together we have no less than 9 cricketers, male and female, taken. So the joke internally is we could form a cricket team now for the Ref Sports Trailblazers, for the Tata Steel Trailblazers 4.0 conclave. Finally, just to emphasize what I'm talking about, we have a few awards, of course, like every year, and our Athlete of the Year award for this year is going to Sumit Until for his being world champion. We have other awards, of course, and I don't want to, give everything away now, but we are honoring our women cricketers. Women's cricket has finally come of age, and our reporters are going to be in England next year for the Women's World Cup. And, it's something which we cherish, we thrive on. And again, I will support Ogni in saying this. It is one man's vision, which we all follow, but we are all totally dedicated and converted to this vision. And Trailblazers is in every way a representation of that vision of equality, of dedication to all sport, of talking not only about stars, but of talking to the ecosystem, of talking to structures, of creating other debates, of not following the trend. That's what makes Trailblazers what it is. That's what makes Trailblazers a trailblazer. So again, welcome each one of you to the Tata Steel Trailblazers 4.0 Conclave. Do enjoy the sessions, do stay with us, and once again, a big thank you to all our sponsors and all our partners who have been with us on this journey. Thank you.
That's a quite fiery and passionate speech by Shormishtadi. And Shormishtadi emphasized on a very important point. I'd like to take the conversation forward. There is a session today, Shormishtadi, if I'm right. How are you investing in sports ecosystem? So there are a lot of investors in the country, without demeaning any of them. Some of them support the athletes only when they reach the top, when they get there. It's a lot of hue and cry about the athletes when actually they grab the limelight with their own prowess and with their own expertise. And then we have somebody like Tata Steel, who work right from the scratch, who work right from the grassroots, who work in supporting the athletes day by day, minute by minute, second by second, and not for a moment they flinch in their support towards the Indian athletes, or towards any athlete they support. So what actually the vision is long term. The vision is not a 7-second reel. But the vision is a 5-day test match. You cannot just gauge the test match by watching the sheer highlights. And on that note, may I please welcome on stage Mr. D.B. Sundararamam, Vice President Corporate Services, Tata Steel, to say a few words at the inauguration of the Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 4.0. Sir, may we have you on stage, please? Thank you. The mic is all yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. So, whatever just has been spoken, so these type of events, generally like Trailblazers, it reflect our corporate philosophy of promoting and supporting cultural and sports initiatives in the society. So, we don't look for immediate benefits, as mentioned. And once again, good afternoon, esteemed dignitaries, colleagues, and media members. Welcome to Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 4.0. I would like to start with congratulating both Boria and Rev Sports for organizing yet another edition of this outstanding platform that brings together high achievers across various sports fields and corporate leaders. As people ask, Tata Steel is a steel company, and what do you have to promote sports? So let me take you to almost 120 years back, when Mr. J.N. Tata wrote a letter to his son, Sir Dorabji Tata, saying that now it has been finalized that the steel plant would come near Sakchi. That time I think it was around 1500 population, today which is known as Jamshedpur. Because of the water and the mines we have in coal and iron ore mines, he mentioned that you must put up a town where the first thing he has mentioned is that town should have enough areas to play the sports like hockey and football. Incidentally, he didn't mention about cricket. Maybe he thought that cricket would come up on its own. And also mentioned about many other things. How should a township and that should have schools, and how should it have other facilities. Even he has clearly mentioned that there should be prayer halls for and we should have a mosque, maybe a church and a temple, everything in the Gurudwara, everything he has mentioned. And I think the dream started around 120 years back, and the same thing has been continued by Sir Dorabji Tata. Every one of you are aware that in 1920, the first Olympics Indian contingent, which represented India, was supported by Sir Dorabji Tata, and incidentally he also became the first Olympic president of Indian Olympic Association in 1926. Incidentally, it's now 100 years of that also we are going to celebrate as well as sports are concerned. So since its debut in 2023, the Trailblazers Conclave has seen significant growth. The past 3 editions brought together India's top sports figures and key stakeholders from the wider sports ecosystem who have contributed to the development and dialogue in sports. As mentioned, generally for the new people who come into the system, when you talk about sports, 90% of the mind space is occupied by cricket. But here, when I was going through the schedule, I think it has been equally distributed. And also, though Tata Steel talks about inclusivity and diversity, even the sessions also, they cover the inclusivity and diversity. We have got women athletes who are going to share their experience along with men athletes. I think it has been the equity she has mentioned that has been visible in that schedule. As always, we say in Tata Steel, sports is a way of life. Inspired by our first chairman, Sir Dorabji Tata, which I mentioned that in 1920s happened. And also as a company, Tata Steel is not just financially invested, but also institutionally invested, contributing to the development of the nation's youth and inspiring a spirit of fitness and togetherness. It also brings back the incident that had happened in early 90s, early 1990. There was a Tata Steel pavilion that was put up in Pragati Maidan, first of its kind, because that time majorly SAIL and Tata Steel were there as steel players. Mr. Russi Modi was the chairman cum managing director. The pavilion started with our activities of society, TSRDS, that time we used to call Tata Steel Rural Development Society. Today we call it Tata Steel Foundation. And all our sports activities, how we started our grassroots level academies, whether it's football academy or it's a hockey academy or it's an archery academy, everything has been mentioned there. After that, the pavilion ended. Then Mr. Russi Modi jokingly said, by looking at this, no one would know that Tata Steel makes steel. Why don't you write, we also make steel? That's how the catch line, Tata Steel, we also make steel, has come into picture. We are honored to sponsor the 4th edition of Trailblazers. This conclave, with its inspiring narratives of resilience, perseverance, diversity, provides a powerful example for aspiring athletes and corporates alike. In the previous years, we have had the honor of seeing and hearing from Abhinav Bindra, Pulera Gopichand, Manu Bakar, D. Gukesh, Saurav Ganguly, Venkatesh Iyer, Mahesh Bhupati, Nikhat Jarin, Anju Bobby George, Sumit Antil, Subhash Ethiraj, P.R. Srijesh, and Harmanpreet Singh, members of the Olympic medal winning Indian hockey team, and the unbelievable Payal Nag, amongst the others. This year, we expect more such exciting interactions. This time, we look forward to seeing and hearing from, again, Nikhat Jarin, Harbhajan Singh, Jair Khan, Akash Chopra, Saurav Ganguly, Venkatesh Prasad, Anju Bobby George, Mithali Raj, Jhulan Goswami, among others. So I am certain that the 4th edition will be another engaging and inspiring event. We are all eager to listen, learn and share different perspectives, which also eventually yield meaningful takeaways for all participants. In between, there was one interview of Buria. He was asking me that we always talk about sports in Tata Steel. How would you take it to your boardroom? Is there any similarity between a boardroom discussion and sports? To my mind, it had come that in sports also, it's not everything is hunky-dory. The athletes struggle a lot, and their ups and downs, both in personal life and professional life. Still, people who have that perseverance come to the top. And in boardroom also, people who see today, the names you hear today, it's not that it has always been a success story for them, whether he was represented by a company or he himself was owner, but there were ups and downs, and the person who had perseverance and as well as tenacity to go up and stand against the failures, he has come up. Second similarity I could see is the uncertainty. When you get into the field, you do not know whether you are going to win or what's going to be your position. Same thing happens in the boardroom also. The decisions you take, you are not sure how the decisions are going to yield. Are they going to be failures or success? If success is there, definitely you are going to be praised, but failures are there, then definitely you are be criticized. So you have to take it with the same pinch of salt. I think in sports also I see the same thing. Today we say Gautam Gambhir had very big and strategic tactic. Because of that we got T20. And the other day when we were thrashed by New Zealand, we said, no, people don't have anything, no strategy, nothing. So in India, we were thrashed by New Zealand. So it's the people's perception change maybe within a minute. But the leaders are those who take these things with a pinch of salt and they try to come back with vengeance. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to share my thoughts and wish the conclave all the best.
Extremely encouraging words from Mr. D.B. Sundararamam, Vice President, Corporate Services, Tata Steel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay, let's welcome, in the yellow corner, ready, with his fiery and passionate speech. Now it's time for the one and only Mr. Boria Majumdar, where he will speak not only on behalf of Rev Sports, behalf of the conclave, but on behalf of the larger vision that Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 4.0 promises to be. In the yellow corner, please welcome the captain of the ship, Boria Majumdar.
Good afternoon. It's always good to see a packed hall. Shormishta spoke, Dr. Padiwala, Rahul, all of them will speak, Adil, they are friends of mine. I was thinking to myself for the last few days, Sundar spoke, who has inspired me over the last 1 year. Why do we do Trailblazers? And there are friends of mine here, people who have backed this vision seriously. I mean, everybody from Tata Steel, Sundar, Sarvesh, from AGS Federal, Atul, Iram, Rahul, who are really close to me. And there are a lot of people, Sriram, Ashok. And I was thinking to myself, why do we do Trailblazers? What's the point? What is the motive in doing a 3-day conclave or a 4-day conclave? And then I thought to myself, it went back to a conversation that I had at the Asian Games and the Olympic Games with a number of Indian athletes. Dr. Padiwala was there in Paris, and he will attest to that. Even the athletes, as part of the Olympic village, don't get to meet some of the other athletes. Suppose badminton ends tomorrow, the athletes fly out the next day and they don't get to meet the hockey players, for example. It doesn't happen. Even athletes do not have the chance to interact, discuss, engage, understand, talk. Now here's the point. Imagine a Gautam Gambhir sitting down a Jyoti Yaraji and talking about pressure. Imagine a Pulela Gopichand sitting down a 19-year-old Vaishnavi Sharma and talking about pressure and how to handle pressure. That's the Trailblazers Conclave. Imagine an Abhinav Bindra sitting down with someone not on camera, in one of the cafes here, any athlete, because it's an invites-only event, no media, no push. Abhinav sitting down an athlete and talking about how to handle the Asian Games and how to handle the Olympic stage. That's Trailblazers. That's why we do the conclave. The backstage is as important as what you see here. It's significant why we do this conclave. And I've asked myself this question time and again. Why we do this conclave? It's also about storytelling. It's as simple as that. Sport is about storytelling. We are all storytellers here. Rahul, Adil, Dr. Padiwala, myself, Sundar, we will tell you stories over the next 40 odd minutes after I speak for another few minutes. It's about inspiration. It's about understanding. It's about fun, humor, wit. And I'll tell you one. Sachin Tendulkar's retirement day. Anjali had organized a party for some of his friends, and each one of us was asked to go up and speak for a minute. Raj Thackeray was one of the invitees. So Raj goes up, he says, "Arey main kya bolu?" He said, "No, please speak." He said, "हम जब मारते हैं लोग कहता है क्यों मारा, सचिन जब मारते हैं तो बोलता है क्या मारा." Sport. That's exactly what sport is. It allows for storytelling. Gautam Gambhir, after this World Cup, now we had a candid chat, and I said, "Honestly tell me, the day West Indies was playing South Africa, did you actually sort of sit down and start praying?" Because all of us were. I was, because I thought Trailblazers is gone. Now imagine an Indian defeat, not even making the final, and I've put Gautam Gambhir in front of an audience. I'm used to trolling, but that would have been trolling of a very different nature. So it's a high risk, high reward game, and that's what we played. That's what we play all the time. Coming to another thing. This day, today, we generally do a small press conference kicking off the Trailblazers Conclave, and people at Tata Steel, my friends at Tata Steel, they know it. All our partners know it. Now, why did we do this? We did this because I called Rahul Bose, and I said, "You've got to come." And Rahul instantly, in fact, it was at the Tata Mumbai Marathon, and he checked his diary and he said, "Done." And the original date was 16th of March. 2 days later, Rahul called and said, "Look, I can't come on the 16th of March. I can make the 14th because I've got to attend a wedding of someone who's very close." I said, "Dad, we'll move it to the 14th. Now, as luck would have it, I said to Adil, "You've got to come," because these are people very close to me. Adil looked at his diary and he said, "I've got to go to Poland. On the 15th, I can come on the 14th. I called Dr. Padiwala, and I've been after Dr. Padiwala for the last 8 months, saying, "You've got to come." Now, this man goes into surgery at 9:30 and comes out at 7:30 a.m. in the morning and comes out at 9:30 p.m. So it's impossible to get him. I said, "Boss, whatever happens, you've got to come." And Dr. Padiwala called me back and he said, "I can only make the 14th. I said, "To hell with 2 days, we'll make it 3. We've got to start the conclave on the 14th with people like them. And then I added the corporate session, we added football, as Shormishta said, because it's essential. We've got India's top corporates. We've got people who invest in sport. Rahul, for example, invests in 5 different sports. Also, tomorrow we launch our studio. We launch our studio. Now, this has been in the making for the last 4 years. Why do we need a studio? We were operating from my home studio, and we'd converted the top floor into a studio. It was okay. Now, the reason is we started with a team of 4 years back. Today, we are a team of 55. We are a team of 55 in 4 years, and that means we've also negotiated a 2-year ban of myself, a personal ban. And believe me, now I can stand in front of you and say, "Oh, it was a personal ban." At one point in time, we both of us thought, Shobhishta and I, perhaps we have to give up on the company. It was hard. That's what sport teaches us. Sport teaches us how to fail. Sport teaches me adversity. Sport teaches me how to take this mission forward, not give up. And that's one thing we tell every person in Rev Sports. When you see the 23 sessions, 65 speakers, 35 athletes, it is not about Boria, never was, never will be. There will be 20 moderators from the entire Rev Sports team. I don't travel these days, they do. Why? Because that's when you give it back to the fraternity. It cannot be about yourself. No brand can be about one individual. If you want to grow the sports journalism fraternity and make a difference to the profession, it has to go beyond that. That's what you will see over the next 3 days. And with that ambition, the studio is being created. Every room is a designated sporting artifact. So we celebrate the Paralympics, we celebrate the Olympic Games, we celebrate cricket. And I'm deeply humbled. I'll play one small video. And here's one man I feel inspired by. And we were chatting, and I said, "Sir, can you join us live for the day of the studio opening?" And he said, "I'll be on a flight, otherwise I would have. I would have joined you and would have virtually helped you open the studio." Trisha, can I ask you to play the video, please? 1.5 minutes from someone who deeply, deeply leaves an impact on us all. Take a look.
Dear Boria and Sharmishta, my warmest congratulations to both of you on the inauguration of Rev Sports Studio in Calcutta. Calcutta has always shared a very special bond with sport. be it cricket or football, passion for the game is part of everyday life in the city. Generations have grown up celebrating their sporting heroes here. Over the last 4 years, Rev Sports has built something truly meaningful. With commitment and conviction, both of you have created a platform that brings attention to athletes and sports that deserve to be celebrated and seen across the country. Your new studio is a wonderful next step in that journey. India today is steadily emerging as a global sporting power. Our athletes are competing with growing confidence across disciplines, and the entire ecosystem around sport, from infrastructure to training to storytelling, is evolving rapidly. Platforms like Rev Sports help capture and share that journey with our nation. Boria and Sharmishta, I am sure that Rev Sports Studio will become a warm and vibrant space where the stories, memories and achievements of Indian sport are preserved and shared with future generations. And as India's athletes continue to aim higher on the world stage, I have no doubt that Rev Sports will be there telling those stories with passion and authenticity they deserve. Once again, my warmest congratulations to both of you, and may God bless you with all success.
You know, we could have played many more messages that have come in, but I think that sums it up. Overwhelmed, deeply passionate, excited, anxious. All of these sentiments. Before I set up the panel and we start with the panel in 3 minutes, I've got to actually thank, and people thank just for the sake of thanking. This is not that. From this end, I'll start. Gaurav Jajodia inspires me. Ultra marathon, Ironman. You know, people who do the talk. Gaurav, thank you. Bhavna. She and I keep talking about how do we make a difference to women's health? How do we do a panel where we address these questions? The Tata Steel table here, Sundar, Sarvesh, Onam, Mukul, each one of them. Again, they have become friends. We've grown this property together. Prasad, Rajot, Rahul, you know, each one, that's what I'm saying. Irambhai, Atul, Rahul, Dr. Padiwala, Adil, Sriram, I can keep naming them. They're not sponsors to me. They are not sponsors to me. This is a collective mission to make a difference to Indian sport. I don't want money. I could have done my previous consultancies between Sharmishta and I. We would have been happy academics, made some money and lived. That's not the point. The point is to make a difference to Indian sport, and we can. Paralympics will not get me the same number of eyeballs as cricket. Doesn't mean I will not cover the Paralympic Games with the same verve and same passion as cricket. That's what Trailblazers is all about. Now let me set up the panel. Some very special people, DB Sundaramam. Sundar and I have had multiple discussions over the last 1 year. And each time I've said, so how do you deal with failure? How do you deal with adversity? How do you deal with, and he's played sport all his life. He's played sport, he understands that mindset. You know, and we've discussed many things. Cycling, we've talked about that. And the number of sports that he's played growing up. About 2 weeks back, I called Sundar and I said, listen, next year, 2027 happens to be the 100th anniversary of Sir Dorab Tata becoming the president of the Indian Olympic Association. It will be the 5th anniversary of Trailblazers. We must do something special. Before even I said anything, he said, you know what? This is obviously huge because it's the 100th anniversary of Sir Dorab Tata and the start of the Olympic movement in India. Let's start the conclave in Jamshedpur and we'll bring it to Calcutta. Tata Steel already we've started planning, and we will do something on Sir Dorab Tata's birthday thanks to DB Sundaramam. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dr. Padiwala. Dr. Padiwala and I have known each other for years. Now when a Rishabh Pant steps back on that cricket field, a miracle happens. The man behind that miracle, why Rishabh Pant? Take a Vinesh Fogart, take a Rishabh Pant, take a Shreyas Iyer, take a Jasprit Bumrah. The man to be celebrated for all of this, and he'll talk to us about it, the man at the backstage, Dr. Dinshaw Padiwala. Thank you, sir. If Indian athletics has turned a leaf, 29 medals in the Asian Games of 2023, 7,000 to 8,000 people participate at the junior grassroots levels. We've turned a new leaf. Have you ever imagined an Indian winning a gold medal at an Olympic Games? And he was discovered by the Athletics Association of India, now Indian Athletics. Put your hands together, Vice President of World Athletics, Adil Sumariwala. And finally, he called me one day and he said, you know what, at 6 a.m. in the morning, can you come to the Sai grounds? 6 a.m. I'm an early riser, I said I will. I was there at 6:10 and he was there at 6:11. And for the next 3 hours, we witnessed the Indian women's rugby team train for the Asian Games. And a revolution is underway thanks to this man. Put your hands together for Rahul Bose. And to co-moderate this panel with me, Ognijit Sen, can I have you on stage? To all our speakers, Dr. Padiwala, Rahul, Adil, and Sundar, please can you come on stage? Microphones, please.
There's one here.
So just give one and then we'll start. Sure, let's go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first session of the Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 4.0. And the session is actually very interesting and, in the literal sense, extremely inspiring. It speaks about sports and inspiration. So, let me start with a very, very small story. We all have witnessed the heroics of a certain Sanju Samson in the recent T20 World Cup. And I'm starting with the recent example. Out of the team, then suddenly drafted into the side to tackle the off-spin problem, and he plays 3 match-winning knocks back-to-back, gets player of the tournament, something he'll cherish forever. So what does Sanju Samson say after he pulls off another match-winning knock against New Zealand in the final of the ICC T20 Men's World Cup 2026? He says, my father was a fisherman. Every day, he would go out fishing. Someday, he would come back empty-handed. Someday he would be very happy and satisfied. But what was important was the fact that he went out every day. He never ever stopped trying. And that is how I learned the lesson from my father. That in any situation I can be put in any situation and I'll still try and give it my best. I'll not try and think of the adversities. I'll not try and think of the outcome. But I'll put my best foot forward. I'll give it my 100%. And this is how, ladies and gentlemen, inspirational stories are formed. And we have 4 extremely inspirational panelists. And it's an honor and privilege for me, Boryada, to co-moderate this session with me. You are inspiring yourself. So why not start with you? You only mentioned, just before we were about to start the session, that sports is all about storytelling. Why don't you start this first session of the Trailblazers Conclave by telling us an inspirational story that you have witnessed or you have been a part of or you love telling? Because sports is all about storytelling.
I'll take 1 minute because I've already taken more time. I'll take 1 minute and then let's hear from them. It's about them, not me today. So this is in Rio 2016. Sachin Tendulkar was brand ambassador of that particular Olympic Games. He had a cast because he had a broken foot, a broken ankle. So he called and we said, let's meet. He said, but I can't walk. I said, listen, nobody will mob you here. So why don't we go to the beach and let's have breakfast together? So he says, okay, but you've got to come and take me. So I said, okay. So we go to the hotel and we walk to the Baha beach. And he said, all we want is omelette sandwich, simple omelette sandwich. Just get us omelette sandwich. Unfortunately, the person at the store, the shop didn't understand. He couldn't follow even one word of English. So Sachin said, yaar, kuch to karo, samjhao inko, I want omelette sandwich. So by then there was one guy who we thought was kind of able to understand English, okay? So he said, ask him. And that guy realized that I was obviously sort of looking at Sachin, speaking to Sachin with a kind of degree of reverence. So he came and said, who is this guy? So I said, can you tell the shop person that we want omelette sandwich? He said, yeah, but who's this guy? So I said, do you know cricket? He said, no. Cricket, no. So I said, football? He said, football, Pele, Brazil, football. I said, this guy, India, 2 Pele. He said, 2 Pele. I said, yes, 2 Pele. So he does his act. He's told the people, the shop person, we want omelette sandwich. And we've had our omelette sandwich. By the time we finished our omelette sandwich, there are about 60, 70 people outside that shop. And Sachin is telling me, what's happening here? I said, I don't know. So we go out, and this guy is making all of them sit in a, stand in a queue. I said, boss, what are you doing? He said, you said 2 Pele. I've got all my relatives from all over Rio come and take photographs with 2 Pele. Now you tell 2 Pele. And I'm like, boss, what are you saying? He said, everybody will have coconut water with 2 Pele and will take photos. I told Sachin, now you do this. So Sachin stands there in that sun, 45 minutes, 2 Pele with coconut water and takes photographs, sport.
That is fabulous, and that is exactly how you start the session with some inspiring stories. Let me start with Rahul sir in this regard. Sir, rugby has been extremely close to you, and you have spoken at length in various interviews, in various podcasts about rugby being very, very close to your heart. And now we have seen a lot of celebrities come and speak about rugby. We have seen a Farhan Akhtar endorsing rugby. We have seen an Abhishek Bachchan speaking about rugby. So how inspirational has that journey been, Rahul sir? I mean, seeing rugby from the scratch, loving the sport, playing it, and now functioning as an able administrator to take the sport to greater heights. Because I think it somehow highlights India's sporting ecosystem as well, that inspiration is the main mantra going forward. So how inspirational has that journey been for you as a player and then as an administrator in taking the sport forward?
Well, I think that I think what I would like to take out of that question is two things. One is what makes us all get out of bed every day and do what we do. And two is how do we do something that has meaning for the other side. There are too many people who talk at you. They don't care about how you receive me as long as I get my words out. Whereas I've always believed that what do I want to hear sitting here? Why will this become an extremely meaningful 15 minutes for you? So I get out of bed doing what I do outside of my cinema is because I love the sport. I love sport. I love this particular sport. It has taught me to lose. It has taught me to be collaborative, both of which do not come naturally to me. It has taught me finally to shoot through my fears. Off the field till today, the closest I can get to crying is when I see boys and girls from far-flung corners of a country playing with this oddly shaped ball on a mud field with the blue sky above them and the mud below them and a ball in their hand. And they seem like demigods. That's what they seem like. As an administrator, and I do not know when I became one, I don't know how to run sport. The only thing I know is the one unfailing ingredient in every single inspirational story is love. All I focus on doing is showing love to our rugby players, which is what I would have loved when I was playing for India for 11 years. I remember the first time I became president, there was an under-18 Asian tournament, and there was myself, the secretary of the organization, the CEO, the head coach, 6-7 of us, head of high performance, and each one would contribute like a conveyor belt something into a roll of towel. Somebody would put Odomos, somebody would put hand sanitizer. This was just post-COVID. Somebody would put in shampoo. Somebody would put in a bottle of coconut oil. Somebody would put in a menstrual product. And then we would make these gift towel rolled up and place it on the bed of the athlete who was going to come. It costs you nothing. It costs you, it's like that MasterCard ad. Cost of doing this, 700 rupees. Somebody more interesting than me, I'll wait. But the effect of doing something like this is priceless. And that translates into, where should we have the national tournament? Let's do it in Calcutta because we have a fantastic, huge sponsor. No. If I was a rugby player in June in India, where would I like to play? At the coolest place. Can we find Bangalore? Can we look at maybe Jalpaiguri? Next, what is the ground like? If a rugby player wants nothing more than a fantastic ground. They will forgive everything else. Which is the best ground in India in June? And finally, where's the food extremely nourishing and good? And where can they stay really well? Because I know as a rugby player, that's all. Ground, food, stay, that's all I need. Then we will decide how to fund it. Or who will fund it. If you start every single thing you do thinking of the player, as a player, what would be perfect? You might not be spectacular. You might not break world records, but you will never do wrong. And for me, that is way more important as a human being, to just never do wrong. On an individual level, my phone is here. If somebody gets hold of my phone and walks away, zero tension. You can check my photographs, you can check my messages, you can do what the hell you like. I have no problem. I'm a very private person, but I have no secrets. So the idea of always thinking about or being propelled by love is something that has come to me because at the age of 6, I stood on a stage slightly higher than this, and I discovered I loved acting. I discovered people were enjoying it, I was enjoying it, and it was the easiest thing I did, much easier than mathematics. And when I was 13 and I picked up this oddly shaped ball, again 3 things came to my mind. 1, unlike cricket, you can get dirty legitimately, and my parents would not shout at me. 2, you could be violent on that field and it would be celebrated, it would not be scorned. And 3, and I don't know whether it still holds true, but the more you bled, the sexier you were to girls in my school. The more you broke your bones, like I broke my nose for the first time, and the 3 most beautiful women in school were by my bedside. And I thought to myself, let me break my nose, whenever it's a dry spell, I'll break my nose and hopefully I'll be able to, get somewhere. So all the wrong reasons. But that's the same, that boy is still sitting here. The boy who played Tom the Piper's son, the boy who played for India, that boy is here. And that boy will never go anywhere. Only thing that has changed is the boy now knows to be slower, wiser, and to wait longer. But otherwise, everything else, the impulse of everything I do is I've been blessed with love and finding 2 things that make me so happy that I've never let them go. It's time for me to give that blessing back.
Brilliant, huh? Brilliant. Lovely. Beautiful.
आखिर उसकी मेहनत बेकार नहीं जाती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी.
Brilliant. Adil, Rahul set the tone there. I mean, and I take you to Tokyo, there are 20 people in that stadium, and when that 87.58 happened, that throw, 70,000 stadium, there were 20 people, by the way, because of COVID. And each one of us started behaving, and Rahul's words, boys. We were all adults. I was 5 years younger, so I was 45. And we were all jumping and breaking all COVID protocols of 6 feet and, hugging each other. And every other journalist from around the world thought, what the hell is going on? They came and said, what's happening? And we said, an Indian is winning an Olympic gold for the first time in 100 years. You made it possible, Adil. You made it possible, and now you have a Sachin Yadav who's throwing, according to you, and I'm quoting you, 90 meters 4 times in the last whatever months, 29 medals at the Asian Games. Something's going on, something that is not cricket, but at the same time very rewarding. Tell me, how did you make this possible?
That's a very long story. It's 15 years of hard work. So I'll quickly try to compress it. So when I first became president, my president and my secretary general were in jail. And they had left about 3 crores of rupees in the account. So when I became president, I said, okay, there's 3 crores of rupees in the account. And the first month, the accountant calls me and says, sir, we have to pay salaries. I said, yeah, send me the check, I'll sign it. He said, there's no money in the account. So I said, means? The office staff had finished that money. The office staff finished that money in the few months that there was no president and secretary. So when I became president, I said 3 things. I mean, I was pushed into it. Nobody wanted to touch the Athletic Federation. I was the bad guy. I formed the Athletes Association. I went on hunger strike. Bhutta Singh had to come all the way to Patiala to break my hunger strike. I have to tell you a secret, I was quietly eating behind, not that I can never not eat, but that's another story. So I said 3 things. I said 1, I said, you have made the naughtiest boy the monitor of the class, so I can't be naughty anymore. Second, I said, what I have suffered, and I must tell you, the night I went to the Olympic Games, I slept on the stairs of National Stadium, outside. Because I landed from Patiala at 3 in the morning, there was no bed, there was no room. I said, this will never happen again. And the third thing I said, I will try my hardest to make sure that we get a medal in athletics, which we have not got. So we started from that. At that time, then the Asian Games just happened, we had 8 medals, 8. So I said, this is not workable. So everybody I went to and said, I need some money, they said, no, Athletic Federation we can't touch, you're outcast. So first 6 months I paid salary from my pocket, 12 people's salary. Then I went to friends. They said, we'll give you money. I said, I don't want to go to jail, boss, don't give me money in the name of federation. I can't collect that money. Put in the account, no. So we said, okay, you give me value in kind. So I'd say, यार ये athlete है, team जा रही है, इसको track suit दे दो. इसका train का fare, आप direct ticket इनका दे दो. आप इसका flight का ticket दे दो. So we started from there. Then I said, no, this is going nowhere. So I said, I need to make a strategic plan. Luckily, I have the education. My thesis was crafting a strategy and implementing it at Asian Institute of Management in Manila. So that was my thesis, and I said, let me put it to some use. So I created a strategy which was a 2-fold strategy, a grassroots strategy and an elite strategy. The elite strategy is very simple. Elite strategy, if you don't have the expertise, you buy it. Very simple. So I got foreign coaches. So today I have 7 foreign coaches, including somebody who has been Usain Bolt's assistant coach, somebody who's been Olympic champion himself, etc., etc. That was simple. Now, the grassroots was the most difficult. So we pushed, and it was something which was started before my time. I must say it was started by Mr. Kalmadi and Lalit Banot. They had started something called the Inter-District Athletics Championships. But there were about 150 districts taking part. I said, no, we have 700 districts. So I made constitutional changes to ensure that these districts did their district championships. The keeper said, no, we can't do in district, we don't have a stadium. You have Maidan, no? Go put Chokka Chuna and do the events. You can't do pole vault, I understand. You can't do steeplechase, I understand. 100, 200, 400, 850, 5,000 long jump. Don't do javelin throw. You might kill somebody, except if you can clear the ground. Hammer, don't do at all. But other events you can do. People who did not do that, I suspended them. So I was the bad guy again. So there was both, I mean, I was very harsh with the districts because that's where the grassroots is. And if you see Neeraj Chopra, Duti Chand, Hima Das, everybody came out of this program. Then from here we select, and 13 athletes come to the All India Inter-District. The last All India Inter-District, we had 625 districts, 6,500 athletes. The Athletic Federation pays for their food, accommodation, travel, everything. So no district can say, I can't send my athlete, I don't have the money. And we feed 10,000 people, 6,000 athletes, they're under 14. They come with their parents. Where will the parents go? Lunch, breakfast, dinner, 10,000 people, 1 week. It cost me 15 crores of rupees.
Something good is happening in this country. We don't take a
Absolutely.
look, but something good is happening.
Okay, so that's the grassroots, and that is what we are pushing. So it is the strategic plan which is working. We pushed it. Then you create an ecosystem. So so there is the athlete. Now what? Where are the coaches? There are no coaches. Who becomes a coach? Have you even thought about it? कोई wrestler होगा, boxer होगा, जो school में, what in our days, जो डफर था, उसको कोई sports करेगा, sports में चला जाएगा. Now, NIS was the only institute. NIS to me is nothing in sports, but anyway, because they're doing nothing. It was at one time in the 50s and 60s amongst the top 5 institutes in the world. They let it go down the drain. The curriculum is 1950s. Sports science has changed. Everything has changed. The people who are teaching there, I'm very sorry to say, some of them are my colleagues. They can't put 4 sentences together. They are teaching there. So it's garbage in, garbage out, taught by garbage. The quality is so bad. So I said, no, now what do we do? So we have the World Athletics Coaching Program. Luckily, I got onto the world body. I'm the first Indian to ever be elected to the world body in its 100 and odd years of history. So I went to Lord Sepko, who's my president, and I said, so we have about less than 100 level 1 coaches, historically. I went to him and I said, I want to produce 5,000 coaches. So, Seb always looks up and says, get out. Very old friends. He said, Adil, get out. Adil, he calls me Adil. So, Adil, get out. I have no time for your nonsense. I said, Seb. So then he says, what? I said, I'm dead serious. But he said, how do we do it? A batch of 24 is all you can do, because the way it is structured. He said, how do I do it? I said, no. Very simple. I will pay for those trainers to come to India. They'll stay in India. They'll keep taking batches of 24 and training my coaches. If I have 700 districts, I need coaches. Today we have already 3,000 level 1 coaches. We had less than 10 level 2 coaches. I have 300 level 2 coaches. So now you have to again finish the ecosystem. It doesn't work like that. If you think there's one coach and one athlete to make an Olympic champion, no, you can't do it. So we said technical official. If these people get coached, and if every district has to do a district competition, who's going to run the competition? Every day I get something on my phone. Sir, my son was first and he has been put third. This happened, that. Everybody has my number. I have 40,000 messages which I have not even seen. If you look right now, there are 40,000 messages which I have not seen.
So both Adil and Rahul have given their phones to us.
Pakro. So then we started creating technical officials. So then we said, okay, we don't need a national level technical. So we created district level, state level, national level, international level. And that is how you create an ecosystem. Now, again, if there's an athlete, he's injured, where are the doctors? They have only one. You have one. You don't have too many.
So on that note, the one.
One.
Let me ask
Correct.
Dinshaw, you ask Sundar.
Please,
Okay?
please,
Okay.
done. Go
So,
ahead.
what? In Paris, Vinesh Fogart fails, we abuse you. Shreya Iyer, we say, come on, why did you not get him ready on time? Rishabh Pant, he has to play a World Cup. So what if he sort of literally escape death? Dr. Padiwala, how on earth do you handle this? I mean, 7:30 a.m. till 9:30, you're in the surgery. How is it possible? How are you human? I mean, and are you Zen? Are you what? I mean, how do you keep doing these miracles day in, day out?
They're not really.
Yeah.
They're not really miracles. This is something that we are trained to do over the years, and if you do it in a correct stepwise fashion, then you can expect that outcome. Now, I think the question comes, why do you do it? And that's something that I picked up from Rahul and Adil right now. So why do we do what we do? As a kid, I loved sports. In fact, Rahul and I were in the same school and a few years senior to me, playing a lot of sports.
He never came second in class. Yeah. He was head boy. He never came second in class. Very, very good at sport. But if you looked at him, you would think, no chance. But,
And with my interest in medicine and sports medicine, I could never take up a sporting career, which I would have loved to do. And so today, when all of these athletes that I've treated do well, I'm really enjoying their success, just because I probably couldn't have achieved it myself. Now, what do we do that gets them back? I think just a structured thing. If someone has an injury and he's an elite athlete, he's already reached that level, and we can't lose that athlete, because if you reach that level, then you're special. And in today's day and age, sports has a lot of injuries. Every sport, you're going to land up with an injury. And if we keep losing those athletes, then we are losing out on, our sporting sort of geniuses that are out there. And so we have to have a structure in place to make sure that each of these guys gets treated, and that happens with a stepwise fashion. So say Vinesh has an injury, we need to quickly identify what that injury is, take care of it, make sure she gets the rehab and gets back. Whether it's Shreyas or Sachin or MSD or anyone else, I think that same structure needs to remain. Diagnose what it is, make sure you know exactly what the problem is, treat it appropriately, and then get them back. You have different protocols for different sorts of injuries, but if you follow that basis, I think it's not that miraculous. Now, there'll be certain cases like, say, Rishabh's, which are extremely unusual. So, to land up with a major car accident and then have a major injury and then expect that athlete to get back to elite sports, that's unusual.
Did you expect him to when he came to you?
My first instinct, so when he actually came to the hospital, the first thing, before he could ask me anything, his mom actually asked me, will he be able to walk again? That was her thing. I don't want him to play. Will he be able to walk again? Her actual question was, when he's taking his Feras, will he be able to walk again? And I said, I can guarantee he'll be able to walk again, but we'll try our best in ensuring that he can get back to cricket again. And then immediately as soon as, Rishabh heard that, his first question was, when am I going to get back again? This all was not as part of the equation. He said, when am I going to get back again? And so it's different perspective when you are, in a bed or you're seeing the situation from outside. So these, I think, times when there are difficult situations, but if you follow that same structure, that you've got an injury, however bad it is, we'll restore your anatomy, restore the way your structure is, and then work through all the steps of getting that function back. I think most of the times you can expect a good result. So it's not always a miracle. It's expected, but if everything falls into place.
And ladies and gentlemen, Rishabh Pant has, by quite some distance, fetched the highest amount of money in an IPL auction ever. And he's the vice captain of the Indian Test team. And he leads the Lucknow Super Giants, thanks to Dr. Dinshaw Padiwala. A huge round of applause for the man himself who got Rishabh Pant back on his feet. and we got a sensational athlete back. Going to Sundaramam sir, one very simple question to you. All three of them spoke from an athlete's perspective. Rahul sir said the same, Adil sir said the same, Dinshaw sir, he also said the same. We are all thinking from the athlete's perspective. Tata Steel is no different. They back the athletes when nobody does. They work at the grassroots level, they work from scratch, and it is actually paying dividends right now. So my question to you is, how does this athletes inspire you? Or how does the work that you do in backing the athletes make an inspirational journey for you to tell your future generations?
Yeah, thank you. I would give a recent example of Chero archers, because recently taking cue from the football academy and IPL and all, now we have archery academy. The first year, only last year it happened. So we were looking for one of the maybe franchises Tata Steel should support. So we supported, I think there were 7 archers in each of these groups. There were 6 groups. So when I went there was a lottery and all, and after the lottery we got our team. Definitely not the Tata Steel athletes we got in that, someone else we got. But the best part is when I went and interacted with all of them, we wanted to have a photo session. There were almost 8 to 9 other archers who came to us, and all of them said, though we are in the other group, but we have been Tata Steel cadets. We have come from this archery academy. So we would like to be part of your photo session. So Deepika was not representing us, Chero archers. Ankita was not representing us, someone else was representing. But all of them were in the photo session. And when Mukul, who is our chief of sports, he was introducing them, each of them, saying that so and so is your coach. So why I have started with this, all of them and most of them have never come to a city. They were in their village. It was absolutely rural background. And recently when we were celebrating our Women's International Day, incidentally there were 2 people who talked about their experience. One was Ankita Bhagat and second Purnima Mato, who is the Dronacharya awardee also, and she's Padma Shri. Even she has also come from a humble background. The way she mentioned that when I said I would like to participate in sports, it was way back in mid-90s. Her parents never allowed her to get out of the house, but she became the coach of archery. So our operations, if you see, except from Jamshedpur, all our mining locations, everywhere we see, we have got big rural footprint. There we saw that if we can connect with them, so that's the reason why football, which is an easy sport to connect with people. Hockey is an easy sport to connect with people in the states of Jharkhand and Odisha. So that's how we started connecting with them, and from grassroots level we started working with them. And now after they have come to that, that's the same story of even football. If you see the football league, most of the players, they say that out of them, 100 of them are now part of all the leagues, and as well as around 30-40 of them represent the national football. So why I'm saying these things? So it is not that the day we started, we have dreamt of that. No. But over a period of time, these things happen. And when whoever comes to Jamshedpur, many people first, sad part is they say that Jamshedpur, where it is. We said in Jharkhand, then there is a bigger surprise, where is Jharkhand? This is a true story. Many of the people outside,
Really?
within India, I'm not talking about outside India, within India they don't know Jharkhand. And sometimes we give that Tata Steel, then they say, oh, I know Tata Steel, I heard Tata Steel, but where it is. So when they come to the city of Jamshedpur, when they go to our sports complex and they say that 43 Arjuna awardees are there, Dronacharya awardees were there, and not only the sports, the Tata Steel also we have Adventure Foundation where 14 of our coaches have submitted the Everest. For any company, 14 of people submitted. When we show them, I'll tell you the current head of sports is passed out in IITN. He's an IITN. When he joined us, he joined for metallurgist, he joined for steel making, but when he came and saw Bachendri Pal, he said, I would like to become another Bachendri Pal. Can I come to sports? We said, absolutely, because we don't get an IITN working as a sports, and he himself, Hemant Gupta himself, submitted Everest, and now he is a big inspiration for the younger generation. When we recruit people, they ask us, they're engineers, they ask us, can we get into Tata Sports? What do we do to get into that? So that has been, these are the stories we tell people that an IITian is there. And to just give an example, from Ahmedabad, Saurav Roy, he is CEO of Tata Steel Foundation. His main thing is working with people. She is, I think, she is also representing the sports of Tata Steel Foundation. Get to grassroots level, talk to them, motivate them, bring them to sports, give them education as well as sports, both. Because we don't concentrate only on sports, give them education also. And not only that, we work on the culture of the people, because see, unless you appreciate the culture, it's very difficult to bring them the part of the entire game plan. So we appreciate the culture. That's how we started developing, and these are the stories we tell the newcomers when they come. You just see these people, and if they can do it, why can't you do it? With that the background, they say that yes, we could do it. We could. And Ankita Bhagat recently, she has become the first Indian archer to become the Asian championship. She won, world championship. She won. That was the story.
If they can't do it, why you can't do it?
What Sundar just said, Ankita is left-handed. She didn't have a bow, because in India we don't produce bow for left-handed archers.
Oh, really?
Tata Steel bought her first bow at the age of 12. So if you speak to Ankita, she'll say, you know, Buryada, Tata Steel, when I was 12, they were the first people who bought me a bow. Agni, 10 minutes left. So,
correct.
Quick round, one quick round with everybody. You go first.
Correct.
Whoever you want to start with.
I'll again start with Rahul, sir. And an offshoot of this conversation, sir, is largely, I think, Rev Sports is also largely about inclusivity. It's about breaking the stereotype. It's about breaking the gender bias, as Boryada continuously emphasizes. And you have been, one of the principal advocates for that. You have delivered talks on gender equality at Oxford. So I'd like to ask you this. When you see that this is not a revolution anymore, this is a reality in Indian household right now. A Pratika Rawal gets celebrated equally as a Sanju Samson. And the female athletes are not just mere footnotes. They're part of the larger legacy. They're itself stories. How inspirational does that make you feel?
So, anything you say about India, the reverse is also true. We're a very generous people. We're also very, very miserly. We're a very warm, friendly people. We can also be very cruel. We respect our women. We also disrespect our women. The truth is, in a complex, multi-layered, geographically diverse, and population-wise massive place like India, both truths will hold. Both will be true depending on where you are, and just a kilometer away the truth will change. So let me first temper your assumption by saying the reverse is also true, because I still believe that a large part of India, misogyny, patriarchy, outright cruelty, barbarism to women still exists. Now you don't just see, and I don't want to get into this too much, but you don't just see the molestation or the rape of a woman. It's not enough. She has to be broken, beaten, burnt. Because the threat to the patriarchy is growing day by day. And I keep saying, the more violent crimes we witness against women, even after they've died, it means that the threat is real to men who are holding on to patriarchy, property, money, and power. I'll leave that there. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to, and I will only talk about rugby here. Just for context, out of 760 districts in India, rugby is played in 322. Nobody knows that 40% of India plays rugby. And there's no need to clap, because they could all just be playing once and go home. But I know that for the last 7 to 8 years, they've been playing in these 322 districts. Should we spread to 650, or should we deepen in 322? Conscious decision in our second phase of growth, and there are 3 phases of growth for federations, which I believe, across the world. His is in the 3rd phase. His is in the beginning or towards the middle of the 3rd phase. He's yet to get to his, to the acme of the 3rd phase being the final phase, where, you can look at, swimming in East Germany or diving in China, the way it was in its 3rd phase, where you took it for granted that there'd be 10 medals coming in. So, our women today are ranked 6th in Asia out of 36 countries playing rugby sevens. for context, about maybe 100 plus countries will play it across the world. There are no world rankings, but if you just go continent by continent, you can say you're in the top 40. Again, for context, there has been no Indian team that has participated in the Olympics in the last 75 years, apart from hockey. Just one team has gone to the Olympics from India. And by 2032, it will be 80 years. Football was there in the 50s. If our women, ranked 6th in Asia, make it to the top 2, they will go into the Olympics. We have 5 years to 2032, 2031, and we have 5 places to move up, 4 places to move up. Doable, yes. Difficult, very. The reason why none of you know about rugby is very, very simple. 3 words: we haven't won. The reason you know about badminton, the reason you know about table tennis, the reason you know about golf, whenever, in some point, oh Saurav Ghoshal, oh Anahat, oh Vishy, oh Gukesh, it's just, what do we get to know? We get to know people who win. Neeraj today, somebody tomorrow, right? We just, and then automatically every parent in the country, the first thing they want for their children is not happiness. They want financial stability.
Of course.
It's a poor, poor country. Civilizationally, we are poor. So you first are just obsessed about मेरा बेटा मेरी बेटी अपने 2 पैर पे अपने बल पे खड़े रहे. तो अगर ये हम कर सकते हैं तो हमारा जो कर्तव्य है माता पिता होते हुए ये हमने निभा लिया है. बाकी सुख दुख तो होता रहेगा. We are very philosophical about love, hate, happiness, but we are very obsessed about financial stability. So when you talk about inspiration, Ogni, the first thing I did, even before I became president, I was on the board, is to go to a sponsor I will not name, but one of the big states of this country, and say, can you please give me 1 crore, I need to pay my players. They said, okay, tell us how much you want to pay them. And what will be the girls, boys, under 18, whatever. And I made a budget of 1 crore, 1 lakhs. And I said, this is where it's going to go. Now you look at parents, and you'll have thousands of examples, Adil, because you've been here much longer with greater success than any of us have. Vaishnavi's father is an auto rickshaw driver in Maharashtra. Refused to let her play when he saw her in shorts going out to play. It was disgust, and it was, I'm telling you, don't do this. But, Maharashtrian mothers are also mothers. She went and played. Vaishnavi went and played. My mother was Maharashtrian. I'm from Kolhapur. And one fine day she came back with 2 lakhs in her pocket after having won a tournament. And father was there in his auto rickshaw, and 30 of his auto rickshaw buddies were there, and they did a victory celebration around Kolhapur.
Wow.
Amazing.
This is money in the form of love, in the form of inspiration.
Fantastic.
That's what happens. So when you get down to looking at it, finally, you really need to get into the crux of it and say, how do I create hope for not the athlete, but for the athlete's parents to say, go and play.
Brilliant, yeah, brilliant.
Lovely.
We can keep going with this panel, but Adil, 1 minute to each one of you because we've got to move to the next one. Asian Games coming. What's your hope? I mean, Neeraj, Arshad, yes, but is there someone else? I mean, that we should now start looking?
Lots of people. I mean, if you got 29 medals, that means there are lots of people. And I am one of those superstitious guys who never talks about medals. I'm just saying we'll do better than last time. That's all I'm going to say. One sentence.
At the Asian level, but at LA? I mean, are you expecting good results at LA? Because the gap is huge.
LA will be better than Paris. 100%.
Nice.
That is the breaking news of the session from Adil Subariwala. LA will be better than Paris in terms of medals. Please write that down, Shomikda.
Dr. Padiwala, again, I mean, when I see Jasprit Bumrah and I hear if he breaks down again, his test career is over and everybody looks to you. Is that so? What is going through the guy's mind? When he comes to you, what do you tell him? That can he exert? Can he play more than 3 tests? No, he can't play. How do you deal with such situations? He's a national treasure.
Yeah, he's a national treasure, but I think for every athlete you need to consider, are you looking at short term, or are you looking at long term? Do you want longevity in the sport? Or do you want to just do everything possible for the next 1 year and go out with a bang? And then the athlete decides, no, I want longevity in the sport. I want to be there for as long as possible. Then our approach is a little different. For any athlete who's going to be pounding his knees and twisting his back and who's going to possibly land up with overuse injuries, you need to then moderate it as you start growing older. You're not 18 or 19 or 20 anymore. If you're going to touch 30, your body's going to take the toll, and then comes this whole, so-called workload management. You need to appreciate that human body can only take that much. Now, you can either spread it out and do it wisely and scientifically, or if national needs demand, then you put it all into that one important, World Cup or tournament, and then we'll worry about what happens thereafter. So each one has their own approach. Some of these guys are extremely intelligent, and they've made up their mind long before they've come to you as to what they want. And then we need to tailor make that, okay, if this is what you want, this is the way we can achieve it. And there'll be others who'll say, no, this IPL is for me a cusp moment. It's an all or none. I'm going to do everything for this IPL. And then what it takes is what it takes. So then our approach has to be a little different. You're thinking short term, and you're not really thinking long term or longevity anymore.
But is that a challenge for you as well? I mean, do you...
Yeah, it is a challenge, but I think it's important to understand that each human being knows his situation best. So as an athlete and his support team and his coach, they know the situation best. You as a medical support to him need to try and make sure that his aspirations and what his goals are realistic and they're met. And our approach, therefore, is different for different athletes.
Shomikda, you got another breaking. The workload management of Jasprit Bumrah, the short-term and long-term goals. You happy now with the breaking part? Yes.
Sundar, one thing, just to close with you. Tata Steel, they are title sponsors of the IPL, Tata IPL. You could have easily invested more in cricket. You are in hockey, you are in every sport, every sport. You're not chasing headlines, you're not chasing numbers, you're not chasing sensationalism, you're backing athletics, you're backing everything. Is that something that you're genuinely proud of, being a part of Tata Steel?
See, when we received an award in football for promoting grassroots level, because generally what you have, because we have got almost 13 clubs playing ISL. We are the only club who have got 90% of our footballers from our Tata Football Academy. And even at one point in time, the India coach was also an Indian. Now he has become national coach,
yes.
coach. Entire, including all the 3 coaches and all the players, everyone, we got them through that. So that is number one. That's the pride point. Second is, as I mentioned, the award we got for grassroots level only because we start working from the age of 7. We have got under 7, under 9, under 13, under 15, and then seniors also. So that has been the philosophy. And why we are not into cricket, apart from the Tata IPL, rest everywhere, as I said, cricket has been always in the limelight. But other sports which required, like hockey, archery, football, that is the reason I think these 3 were the first 3 academies we started, not a cricket academy.
I'll end on that note with the final 30 seconds. When Trailblazers was first conceived, TV Narendran, the managing director and global CEO of Tata Steel, first meeting, he said, do you want to do cricket? Then I'm not interested. And I said, no, I want to do Olympics and Paralympic sport. He said, now you're talking, how much money do you want? I was not ready. He said, no, you tell me now. I said, I'm not ready. He said, you tell me now. And that's how it happened. Sundar could have given me more. Anyway, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this panel was sensational. I don't think we could have had a better start. Put your hands together for Rahul Bose, Adil Subariwala, Dinshaw Padiwala, and of course, Sundar Ramam. Sharmishta, can I have Sarvesh Kumar, can I have you on stage to do the honors and felicitate our panelists, please? Sarvesh Kumar, again, a very dear friend, senior management from Tata Steel. Sarvesh, can you please do the honors? Sarvesh is asking 1 packet to each. No, he wants to divide. We're not that bad. No, we are not in Adil's stage of 15 years back or Rahul's 10 years back. Yeah, and this is supported by one of our partners, 10XU, which is Sachin Tendulkar's newly launched athleisure brand. Thank you. Sarvesh, 1 photograph, please, together. That's the final part of this panel. the podcast team, Dr. Padiwala and Adil will have flights, and Rahul has been requested, so you can take our speakers to the podcast room, please, for the podcast recordings quickly. And it's time we move. You come, you take it forward. Ladies and gentlemen, one final round of applause for all our speakers. Okay, I will call the next session. Ogni, I'm told you've got to record a podcast with Rahul. Okay.